Hello, hello. Morning, everyone. Hey, Thomas. What is going on? Yeah, feel free anyone else to pop in and say at least good morning. Let's see what we got going today. Already had a beautiful setup here. I was a little bit too late. Just got to the desk. Yeah, second entry short was pretty clean. Nice downtrend here. Pull back to the EMA. I would have gone short right there. Targeting the low of the move. 1-to-1 risk. That would have been a winner. Hey, Shaq. Good morning. Happy New Year to you, Shaq. Those are you who weren't here yesterday. Happy New Year. Welcome back. It's going to be a good one. 2024 is going to be a good one. I can feel it. Hey, Matt. I did. Thank you. You as well. Hope it was a good one. Nice, Shaq. That's awesome. 15 days, 15 straight green days on the Nasdaq is great. Hopefully that will be a good move for you in the new year. Hey, Exponential. Good morning. Well, really wish I was around for this trade right here. Beautiful pullback to the EMA after this downtrend. So at this point, we're gonna have to wait for either an obvious continuation that causes us to look at a bigger trend, or just a complete reversal that we can trade something to the long side. Hey Hamish, good morning. Candlestick as well, good to see you. Nice, Candlestick, you caught that trade, sweet. That was a beauty. And another great thing this morning, look at that, the Nasdaq looking exactly the same. If I took away the names, it'd be really hard to tell the difference. So yeah, both markets moving in lockstep. It's a great sign to start the day. Hey Ian, good morning. Do I see 3 measured moves coming up? Not sure what you mean by that. I mean, we could get a measured move of this guy. Something like that. But we'll just have to wait and see. And today is very heavy on the news. So that is something for sure that we need to be aware of today. We have ISM manufacturing, jolts, and ISM prices all at 10 a.m. today. And then the FOMC meeting minutes are going to be released today as well. So all those may not be long-term market moving events, but it will certainly cause volatility for at least a couple candles. So we need to be flat for that so we don't get punished. And we'll try to give a reminder before that happens. All right, so candlestick is talking about 4788 to 4776. Right? Yep, 4788. 4766, that's what I had. Be that measured move right there. Yeah, so that I wouldn't say that's 3 measured moves. That's just one move that then is measured. So yeah, we'll see if that comes into play. Got market open here in 13 minutes. And we could just reverse and bounce to the upside. Thomas asking, have I gone further with CL like I mentioned last time? Yeah, a bit. Been mostly focused on dialing in the new strategy, so I haven't expanded that to a bunch of other tickers, but yeah, got CL going in the background for sure. Watching that, and here in the next couple weeks, I'll get organized and get those tickers going as well. Ian asking about this last one, this last trade regarding my new strategy. Yes, I would have shorted right at the EMA. I would not have waited for the second entry. So I'll see this beautiful move down, confirmed, you know, very clear price action, getting a pullback. You're expecting a new low. I would have gone short right at the EMA with one target at the low of that move, 1-to-1 risk. So go short right here. That's my stop. That's my target. And boom, would have been a winner. Very, very simple. Very simple strategy. But of course, you can always wait for confirmation. And one thing I'm doing too is adding on the confirmation of a second entry, right? So take a trade like this, short at the EMA, and then once the second entry appears, add to it, because that's just confirming that, like, yeah, this is going to work out. So yeah. Thank you, Thomas. Yeah, I'm looking forward to debuting it to the world. And this is 2 days in a row where the exact same setup happened right around the same time, right before I got on. Move down, pull back to the EMA, and continuation. So let's see, this was, where was it yesterday? Oh yeah, it's right here. Same thing yesterday. Move down. Pull back to the EMA and continuation. Actually, it would have been right here. But yeah, and then continuation. Right at the same time, too. Do I sound sick? Not sick. Just woke up though. Pretty much just straight rolled out of bed, so I don't think my voice has had a chance to catch up with me yet. We'll drink a little water and we'll be good. Yeah, Ian, I would definitely encourage you and anyone, dude, do some back testing. You can find all sorts of stuff when you're just looking at charts and playing around and back testing. You may find a strategy completely unique to you. So yeah. Yeah, that jug is not just a little water. You're right, Robin. If any of you have a New Year's resolution to drink more water in the new year, Join me with the jug. But yeah, Ian, the context has to be perfect, and that's kind of the whole point. Is I want to. That's what I primarily want to look at. What's the context? And I want to get in when the context is right, because there's so many times that the context is perfect and there's no precise entry because of how the bar is formed, and that has bothered me for a long time. So this is the solution, and fortunately it works really good. Now there is the caveat, of course. It is lower win rate, right? Like if you're only going on context and with a 1-to-1 risk, the win rate is much lower than if you were just waiting for like the perfect second entry. So yeah, you have to be okay with that for sure. I'm around like 60 to 70% win rate on using this method, so that's lower than where I was at doing second entries. So yeah, that's a bit of an adjustment. You have to take some more losers and be okay with that. But again, that's something that's really unique to each person, like how willing you are to have a lower win rate strategy. For me personally, I wouldn't want really a win rate much lower than that. 50% is kind of like the lowest that I would want to go. Just mentally not wanting to take a bunch of losses in a row. But, you know, of course, there's a lot of traders out there that go for that really crazy risk to reward and are insanely profitable with like a 30% win rate. I just can't do that. Thomas asks, "What's your jug called?" I can't find anything big in France. Oh, it's just a bottled water. It's a bottle of water you get at the grocery store. I should probably get like a fancy, you know, hydro flask water jug. I don't know if they make. I'm sure they do. I've never seen anything that big though. Ian says, "I'm sure you'll find tweaks as you go to increase the win rate, to wait for 2 legs back after the break of the trend. Once it crosses back over the EMA into the trade." yeah, that could definitely work. Although if you're doing that, it will likely just be a second entry, which would for sure increase the win rate. You could wait for like a break-in new high, right? But that doesn't always happen. But you could wait for something like, you know, the correction channel to actually have it break in a new high, like right here. Pulls back, hits the EMA, breaks, and then moves up, and then goes short somewhere in here. That's another possibility, but it doesn't always happen. Oftentimes you'll get this here, a break, and then like a lower high, and then, you know, by the time you short, you're already down here, and it's the second entry anyway. So yeah, something to play around with. Something to play around with. I already have found some tweaks. So in the beginning, I was trying to do all sorts of stuff. Like, oh, okay, move down, break, new low. That's played out. I'm gonna go long, which works a lot, but I have found that's not. It just decreases the win rate even more. So just sticking to trend continuations has improved that. Also, another thing that I was trying was trying to do measured move reversals. So if we got this and came down to the measured move, trying to go long right there, but I found that that wasn't also, that was also decreasing my win rate, and it was pretty much a coin flip whether or not it was going to work out. So pretty much eliminated those, and just sticking to the trend variety like this, or a range setup. Like if you have a really clear, oops, that's the wrong button, hold on. If you have a really clearly defined range like this, and with prices going up and down, just blindly going long here and short up here. So those are the two things I'm doing. All right, market is open. Here we go. Expecting a bounce here, and Shyx buying the open, expecting that bounce as well. Got a little congestion to start the day. The never-ending range after the pre-market move. Gosh, that's so true, isn't it? It still has a chance to drop down and maybe develop like a secondary channel, something like this. Nasdaq 2, I could see a secondary channel forming somewhere around there, so I'll keep in that as a possibility. Shaik is asking if I ever trade in the pre-market. I do. Yeah. Like I said, if I was around, I would have definitely taken this setup here on the NAS and the ES, move down, pull back to the EMA, take that short for a new low. Same on the ES, move down, move to the EMA, take that short for a new low. Those are both happened pre-market. If I was around, I would have been in that, but I was still snoozing. So early bird gets the worm. Johnny, good morning, good morning. Johnny says, I started waking up an hour early because there's plenty of days where there's a good setup before the open. Totally. Totally. Very true, but that's, that'd be like 5 o'clock my time. And I can't really do that on a consistent basis. Because I also do not perform well with little sleep, so need to balance getting setups with actually being rested, being able to take them. Nasdaq moving up. That's in the top of this little mini range. Looking pretty strong though. Oh, that's perfect, Johnny. If you're Central Time, 7 to 7:30, that's money. I do that all day. People on TikTok calling lazy for having 8 hours of sleep. That's called valuing your life. There's so much research on how important sleep is for your body. So, yeah, call me lazy. Call me lazy. I don't get 8 hours, unfortunately. I wish I did, but if I did, it definitely wouldn't make me lazy. Hey, morning, Juan. Would the 1-to-1 strat work on the Nasdaq too? Yeah, of course. Of course, it's a price action strategy. It'll work on anything. You always have to, manage your risk though. The Nasdaq is a bigger mover. It's more leverage, so you really got to make sure that you're willing to, you're sizing appropriately, right? Like, if you're doing a 1-to-1 risk to reward, you can expect a win rate around 50%, just, on random chance. So keep that in mind. Make sure you can do several losses in a row, 5-6 losses in a row, without doing damage to your account. Nice. Good trade, Shia. Glad you got a win on that one. Boy, the S&P not going anywhere on that. Nasdaq bounce, S&P just staying stagnant here at the bottom. We may be looking for a larger bear channel if they keep drifting lower on the S&P. So again, we do have the possibility of a larger bearish channel on the S&P. Nothing fits great yet, but it certainly could if we drop off here. Meanwhile, the Nasdaq looking relatively strong. It is trying to make a new high of this move up, break, almost new high. Could take the S&P with it. All right, there's the new high on that Nasdaq move up. We'll see if that then reverses. S&P is trying. Is definitely trying. Drop on the ES. And that NAS already had that new relative high right here, so we're expecting that to go down as well. Yeah, this market looks like it might go down. The ES is very heavy. Tech is trying its best, but definite diversion here between the NAS and the ES. Nasdaq continuing to work higher, S&P hugging the low of the day / open. Possibility of a wider move here. ES testing the bottom of this range, the opening price as well. Possible channel here. I mean, the ES is just definitely looking bearish. I would expect this to go lower for sure. The fact that it didn't get any lift with the Nasdaq is all, it's pretty telling. We also have news coming out here in 13 minutes, so we could just chop around until then. Buying a little secondary channel on the Nasdaq. Well, hopefully this news announcement can wake the market up a little bit. This is pretty terrible. Haven't gone anywhere since the open. It's kind of chopping around. But again, we have ISM, we have jolts. We'll see if they can do anything. In the meantime, stay hydrated, folks. Just a little water today. Maybe 2024 is about being a night trader. Oh gosh, I hope not. Can't handle that. Here we go. Here's a little move. Come on, S&P. What do you got? Something? Anything? Looks like CL had a nice setup this morning too. I was just looking at that. If you're into trading crude oil, nice move up overnight and pull back to the EMA right here. That's when you'd want to go long. Targeting that high. 1-to-1 risk. Boom. Look at that. Enter right here. Barely any pullback, and it goes and fills you right away. Check says compared to the Nasdaq, the ES seems slow. As a scalper, I think Nasdaq gives more opportunity. Yeah. I mean, it's certainly faster. That's for sure. Has a lot more fast moves, so you're definitely more liable to get filled right away for your trades to work out right away. Yeah, I don't know that it gives more opportunity though. I've been trading both for a long time now, and they generally move the same overall. But yeah, and Nasdaq does have more quick moves. It can be faster sometimes, and it's certainly more leverage. So one contract goes a long way, but that can work to both sides, right? That can mean bigger losses as well as bigger winners. Yeah, that is true, Shayak, that if you're going for 5 points, you'd easily get filled on the Nasdaq. But I don't think that's a really fair comparison because their ATRs are completely different. Like right now, the Nasdaq's ATR is about 13 and a half, and the S&P is 1.75. So you can't really compare points like that because their average true range is completely different. And if you're only going for 5 points on the Nas, that's just noise, man. Yeah, it moves 10 to 20 points in a second, so that'd be a little dicey. 15 points makes a lot more sense. Yeah. That's a good healthy move on the Nas. Okay, 4 minutes to the news, and the Nasdaq is dropping off here. Finally, we're getting some movement there. I don't think the secondary channel is legit. Likely just have a breaking new high of this guy, and we're starting a new trend here. Buy my book moment. Ooh. It's a good question, Thomas. I actually don't have, because the news can do anything here. But I think we go lower. I think we go lower. The S&P has been weak all morning, and the Nasdaq is now dropping. So unless there's a surprise with the news, I think we're going to continue lower. Probably hitting that measured move that we were talking about earlier down here. I'll make sure y'all are flat. We have news in 3 minutes. Here's the measured move on the Nasdaq. I'm going to mark that off. That could end up being a nice target if we end up heading down that way. And that channel we were talking about starting to look more and more possible. If there wasn't news in a couple minutes, this would be a great trade right here. Taking a short right at this level, breakout pullback of this range, overall downtrend. I'd like a short there. But with news, things can get a little wacky, so I'm not going to take that one. Right, here we go. What's going to be the news? ISM came in just as expected. Jolts pretty much just as expected. ISM prices were down slightly, but otherwise nothing spectacular news-wise here. So we're gonna let the computers do their thing and react how they will, but I don't think this is gonna be a major market mover. I think we're just gonna get a few volatile candles here. On the Nasdaq, this kind of all looks like one big range here. Redraw this. Without the news, that would have been a pretty decent short to take at the top of the range. Expecting a move to the low, but the Nasdaq has been relatively strong. It's a little bit of a bullish bias, so that'd probably keep me out of it. I think you would have gotten stopped out on this trade if you took that at the EMA. Yeah, that looks like a stop out there. Well, you don't want to mess with news, and it might just go right where we expected it to go anyway. Pretty strong double bottom on the S&P, pushing back above the EMA. Could get a retest of that move up there. Two legs. This resistance might come into play. So that news is out of the way. We can safely take a trade if something sets up. We do have the FOMC minutes at 2 o'clock, and the market famously slows down before any FOMC release. So I'd not be surprised if, maybe we'll get a nice half hour or so of good action, and then I would not be surprised if we're just ranging around for FOMC. Tempting to take a short here at this level just because of all these tests, but this isn't a consistent range, right? There's not consistent highs and lows. It's pretty erratic, so I'm gonna hold off on that. Curious if this is a measured move here. I know it's pretty close. Nasdaq's right at the top of this range, but since we did not test the bottom, I cannot short here. A little bit of a bullish bias going on. This could be where we break out. And the ES all of a sudden is starting to look really strong. Stronger even than the Nasdaq. Oh, that's how it goes. They trade off sometimes. All right, let's see if this move up is legit. Testing this resistance as support. We'll see if it holds. It doesn't look like it's holding on the NAS. Which again, they've kind of flip-flopped as far as which ticker is stronger. NAS looking a little bit weaker right now. And rejecting off the top of this range. See what the EMA does. And yeah, we're going to need something a little bit more decisive. This range is not consistent enough to trade, and we don't have any overall bias yet. To get a new low of this larger secondary downtrend. We had the break. Could be looking for a new low, maybe even that measured move. They put another layer of paint today. Yeah, there you go. Another layer of fresh paint going on the market. And we get to watch it dry. This is a nice looking move down. I would consider taking a short here. We can get a pullback soon. I don't want to short into this action here. Low of the day kind of stuff. But if we can get a pullback here to the EMA, I think I'm going to take that. Nasdaq, beautiful move down. Getting too close to the range lows though. And that range play would have worked out. You would have took the risk here. Looks like it's going to go all the way down to target. Dang, we're already getting to that low of day. Really don't want to go short into that level. And a bounce from the low of the day can be a reversal rather than just a pullback for continuation. Nasdaq, almost a new low of the day. And if this was just a range, this is just like yesterday. If this was just a range, I'd be taking a long here. But context is so important. And look how we got to the range. Moved down into this. So the most likely scenario is a continuation of this move down. If this range was all the action we had today, this would be a great buy in here. But this is giving you a clue that that's probably where we're going to continue to go. New low of the day on the S&P. So this secondary channel is played out. Maybe we get a bounce here. Or maybe we go down and touch that measured move first. Kind of a mess in here, man. Look at all this. That's just a lot going on. Try to clean it up a little bit. Yep, looks like we're headed for that measured move. It's been a minute since we pulled back to the EMA. Nasdaq might get to that measured move as well. We have a very slight break in new low, as does the ES. Hey, Stephen, good morning. There will be a reaction at 47.50. All right. Definitive. Man, I'm bummed we didn't get a setup on the way down here. Pretty clear downtrend. If we would have had a pullback to the EMA, that would have been great. But instead, we were just drifting lower. No pullback. Getting close to that measured move. Nasdaq has a pretty clear break and new low. I don't want to short at this point. That's either a green screen or Joe's just a flying hoodie with a head. That's me, dude. I'm floating out here. Or maybe I'm under the ocean. This kind of looks like I'm under the ocean. Feels like I have some green on your top. That's why. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I see on my shoulder right here. I'll have to get that all touched up. Sorry for the visuals aren't crisp. Aren't we all, Thomas? Aren't we all? Man, oh man, come on, market. Let's do something. I really hope this is not the pre-FOMC slowdown. But pretty wild to see such a steep move. And then it's just like not doing anything. Just kind of chopping around. Like usually you see a little bit more of a decisive, like, okay, there's a break in new extreme, now it's reacting or something. But man, oh man. Right, perhaps a little bit of life here on the Nas. Green bar. Maybe something. Hamish says, looks like the first leg down, the larger measured move on the Nas. Yep, could be. Again, I do have that marked here. This is the measured move for this guy. Certainly could get there. You know, maybe we come back, get a little bit of a bullish correction, and then finish that off. There's always, you know, measured moves inside of measured moves, so you could get something like that even. It gets us down to that level. That's what you meant. Okay, cool. Here we're getting that bounce on both tickers. Some nice looking green candles. This bounce failed to generate any big momentum. We already have a break. And of course it could end up being wider, but it already looks like it's gonna lose in steam here. We'll see. I'm gonna try them wider, and I hope that's the case. I hope we can continue up and develop into something strong here. Could for sure get a long setup. As all the trends are played out. This move down already had a break a new low. This would be a failed breakout of this range. This move down had a break a new low as well. So price action wise, we certainly could bounce up here. And same deal on the S&P. This move down and the secondary channel both have a break and a new low. Even this really steep move down is played out. So a bounce here makes sense as well. Hoping that it'll gain steam and get going so we can have something. Can't really trade a drift lower from here. We need either a bullish channel to develop or a clearer, greater bearish channel. I don't know. I guess you could go ultra wide. Something like this. That's a pretty unusual channel. It'd be hard to trade anyway. All that to say, it's a good time to sit on your hands and wait for something clearer to develop. Don't just throw on a trade right now because you're bored. Thomas is asking if we have any direction on the daily. That is a wonderful question. We're basically on a pullback on the daily. So daily is clearly up and will likely be retested. So this is just a little bit of a pullback on the daily, coming down to test the EMA. So likely, and we could get a couple of days in here that just chop around, or maybe even 2 legs of bearishness, but would ultimately expect at least to attempt a new high on the market. So yeah, daily is definitely looking up. We just might have to endure a couple of red days, or maybe a couple consolidation doji type days. For sure, break of our channel right here. Move up, break. Do expect a little bit of a push up. Not something I would trade though. I mean, this is not a strong trend by any means. It could easily just continue downwards. EMA is flat. Not the kind of setup we're looking for. A larger channel starting to look a little bit more possible. As this was really like the first low of the day, we broke below that, just retested it here, and are moving down yet again. But I'm going to put that larger channel on the chart. And we'll see what happens at that measured move. I don't think there can be any wider channel on the Nasdaq. We're just gonna see just for kicks, because we had nothing better to do, let's be honest. Yeah, well, you know what? That doesn't look bad. That doesn't look bad. We'll keep it on there for now. Lower high might be interesting on the Nas. From this low, we have a first entry, second entry. We could test that EMA one more time and put in a nice bearish bar. That might be a good short. Does not look like it's going to turn into a lower high, and we're above the EMA. We can forget that. We already made a double bottom on the ES. That's a little sketch, but we could get a failed second entry long right here. From this high, first entry. Could be a second entry. I mean, we made it this far. It's like we got to get to that measured move, right? Rejected at this previous breakout area. Not been able to get anything going on the bullish side. But we're too low anyway. We're just going to have to wait this one out. Coming up on that measured move. The measured move on the Nasdaq, I think, puts us at about the channel bottom as well. There it is. Got it on the S&P. See if we have any reaction or if we continue lower here. Yep, pushing below that measured move. Nasdaq has plenty of room to go to get there. So if it isn't obvious by now, the bias is for sure down, so we should only be looking for shorts. Not on the pushes. Can be very tempting for newer traders to short about now as things are pushing lower. You really want to wait for the corrections to take a trade. It's going to be your best chance of success, gives you the best risk to reward, highest probability. Unless it's a complete runaway day, then you can kind of just short wherever, but that's not what today is. We have a lot of back and forth. You know, the news here too, we're above and below the EMA. This isn't a strong trend. This isn't a strong bearish trend. It's a bit weaker. So You really do need to wait for the corrections. Don't go short right here. Wait for us to pull back and, you know, test the EMA or test the measured move or something. Man, if you just looked at a chart for today, you'd be like, wow, this market's moving pretty well. Like if you just jumped in right now and just looked at the chart, man, look at all this big move down. We're getting a lot of great movement. But for all of us that have been sitting through here, been very slow for how it looks. So it looks like a lot of good movement, but it's been crawling along to make these moves.
Cruising down the street in my 6'4", jocking the beat, slapping the hole. Went to the park to get the scoop.
Man, oh man. Coming back to test that measured move here. But not a trade we can take. I'm trying to think, I'm trying to contemplate like, okay, what really would I need to be able to get short? This kind of drifting lower is not very easy. I think at this point, it'd be helpful to see a bit more of a correction. We're getting it on the Nasdaq. Want to see this thing really play out. Want to see this thing really play out like that, and then we can look for a setup going back down. Surprised we're not getting that same correction on the S&P. I do think if we eventually get back to the trend line, I will short that. As long as it doesn't look too strong getting there. But if we, we come down, test the bottom especially, and just kind of meander our way back up, I'll take a short right here. Matt, I'm actually back in the area. I actually ended up doing that. Continuing down, no reaction off the measured move. Yeah, for sure, Matt. I'm assuming that's where you are. Sweet. Yeah, I like Happy Valley. That's a nice area. Possible short on the Nasdaq setting up. Trend is clearly down. We have a pullback, first entry, pullback, almost a second entry. But if the EMA can hold and we get a lower high, I like that. Thank you. It's good to be back. I did miss all the mountains and beautiful scenery. Don't miss the rain. Don't miss that at all, but it's all right. You gotta take the good with the bad. And that keeps it all green. That makes the summers here really awesome. We can start our fun. Yeah, let's do it. Never got that second entry on the Nas. The EMA is so far holding. See if this can finish bearish. Push above the EMA will be no bueno here if you're looking for a short. And that's what's happening. This correction is going to play out here. Move up, break, new high. Now I'm contemplating, okay, if on the Nasdaq we get all the way back to the trend channel line, will I short? I don't know. There's a lot of empty space down here. This could just as easily move up. You know, if you delete this guy, looks like we could set something up like this, and that would totally make sense price action wise. So yeah, I don't think I'll short that if it goes back. We'll likely wait for confirmation. If it tests the top here and then gives a failed second entry long, that would be nice. And on the ES, same question. Would I short a touch of the channel line? It's confirmed 1, 2, 3 touches. Again, we don't, this is a lot of empty space down at the bottom. Speaking of which, let's see if there's any possible way to draw this. There's too much empty space at the top. So anyway, yeah, no, I don't think I will sell a touch of the channel line, but I will look for it to confirm and then give a failed second entry long to take that short. Start of the correction on the S&P. Another rejection at that measured move level. If we could get down into here, now that would be interesting. We push down and get, you know, even touch the bottom, that'd be even better. Then on a pullback, I would sell if we get to the EMA. Yeah, I'm calling that out now. If we get down into this area and then pull back to the EMA, I'm going to sell that. possibility here if you're really into it. Pretty much a second entry short if this turns bearish. I need to see a bit more of a correction before I'm comfortable selling. And the possibility that we just kind of chop around until the FOMC minutes, pretty high here. So with that said, not a lot for us to do until we see some movement to either extremes of the channel. Again, if we just go straight up here, I'll be looking for a failed second entry long. If we can get down into this zone, I will sell a pullback to the EMA. So that's my plan of attack on both tickers because they're both looking quite the same. The one thing being, you know, obviously if there is something even more evident that appears, like for instance, if we just start rocketing up here, blow past this channel and don't look back, then I'll take a long. So always got to be on your toes, be ready for anything, any sort of pattern that develops. You just want it to be clear, and that's the name of the game, waiting for a context that is very evident what the likelihood is, and then you can capitalize on that. So I'm going to be waiting around for that, and hopefully it will develop sooner or later. But if not, no worries. There's always opportunities in the market. So follow me on Twitter if you aren't, and I'll be calling out trades there. But as for the live stream, taking off. Thanks, everybody. Hope you had an excellent morning. Hope it's been a great start to the new year, and I will catch you tomorrow. Have a good one, everyone.